Welcome back to Studio F on Fast Times with B. We'll be reviewing Wolfman. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Wrestle!
Welcome back to Fast Times with Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got Kory with me. Kory, are you ready to wrap this up?
Oh, I'm ready to wrap up our Wolfman saga.
How are we doing today?
Good. I just saw a good movie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good too because...
Did I spoil it?
We saw a good movie.
We did see a good movie.
So today we'll be talking about Wolfman 2025. That has a weird ring to it, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But first new release review of the year. Which is crazy because I've pumped out like 10 videos already this year.
I know. It doesn't feel like it's been the first.
Due to a little food poison, Dinner Thieves 2 was unfortunately scrapped. But we start with Wolfman, and what a way to start.
Bad salad.
Bad salad. You hate to see that. But
You do hate to, as a big guy, you hate to see it.
But we got Lee Whannell in the director's chair. Somebody we were really excited to see back in the director's chair. We've got Christopher Abbott as our main character, not Larry Tabbitt, by the way. He's Blake.
I'm not shocked. If you see how Lee Whannell took The Invisible Man
and made it his own, yeah.
You assume that he's he's gonna make it.
We got Julia Garner, who's got a busy year ahead.
Yeah, sure.
We've got those are the two big ones.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I probably should have figured out the daughter's name. Because she was pretty solid.
Yeah, she was actually, as far as kid actors go, she's actually very good.
Not the biggest role I've seen from kid acting, though, but definitely did her thing. But we'll start with the good. And this movie is getting some hate, which is kind of blowing my mind because, in my opinion, I think this is like the best movie we've gotten in January in some time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we both were sitting there in the car thinking about January releases. I just couldn't think of any good ones.
We both enjoyed The Beekeeper last year.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But that's nothing bad against it. But this is different. This is a better movie.
And the bad rap too for January is definitely more so horror.
Yeah, horror usually, it seems like horror really does good mid-summer, not pun intended, in October or in December. Yeah. Like any other, and I'm talking July horror movie.
Yeah, if it comes out before July. The Black Phone I would think was end of June, but even then, before...
you know what, sometimes you get some good March releases, because isn't that when Black Phone was released?
No, it was released in June.
What? It was released in June. Okay. Because I think about Evil Dead Rise came out in March, and that was a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah, Evil Dead Rise, I think...
When did Talk to Me come out?
Talk to Me was middle of summer. It was July.
Was it middle of summer too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely January though. Looking at last year, we got Night Swim and...
Oh, January's fucking miserable. I'm going to spoil it for you all. Last January sucked ass.
Yeah.
That was a miserable... literally,
neither of us liked Mean Girls.
Somehow my saving grace for January last year was an action movie starring...
You liked ISS quite a bit.
I did like ISS a lot, but that's that's a different kind of ball game, you know? Yeah. That's like watching a depressing biopic, that movie. Yeah. You know?
And then Destroy All Neighbors didn't do it for either of us. That was a Shudder though. It wasn't a theater release.
Dude, I don't know what that was.
that was me digging deep and found something I shouldn't have.
That felt like a no shit. That felt like a high school production.
Yeah. My bad. But nonetheless, we've got Wolfman here today, and we both have some good to talk about in this one.
I have plenty good to talk about.
First and foremost, acting. Christopher Abbott was great. Julia Garner was great. The daughter was great. Even the dad, who we, get more so in the opening scene than anything. I didn't have anything to sneeze at when it came to the acting in this movie.
No, neither did I. Here and there were moments, which I'll get into later, that a certain actor I was like, I don't know. But I definitely changed my tune a lot more towards the end.
Yeah.
I will get into that.
Okay. Big shout out to practical effects.
Big shout out to practical effects, especially upon hearing this is done on a $25 million budget.
Yeah.
I mean, most of that's probably going to actors, locales, director, and then practical effects.
Yeah.
And I think money well spent.
Yeah.
Where they did.
I think we get a little of the special effects with some transformation stuff, but like the look of the wolf is completely practical.
Yeah.
And we both, when this movie was first being, teased and trailers were coming out and the first looks were coming out, we both didn't know how we felt about the werewolf, or the Wolfman, I should say.
Oh, I knew how I felt. I straight up just didn't. I was pretty weary about it. I had my faith in Lee Whannell, luckily, so I didn't make an ass of myself. Yeah. But I definitely was like, he's looking a little wet and slick, and he looks like a rat.
Yeah.
That one. But that was because it was like a Universal, theme park they had.
Yeah.
Like somebody on display, and they obviously didn't go like all out for that one.
Yeah.
Big difference here.
For sure.
Phenomenal look in the movie.
Yeah. They definitely went for less hair than we got in 41 and 2010.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I like it because of the type of Wolfman we get in this movie, and that is a disease. Mm-hmm. It's more of a disease rather than just this beast takes you over.
Yeah, see, I read that Lee Whannell had said he was kind of going in that direction a couple months, and that's when I was like, all right, there's something in that for sure.
Yeah.
And then again, upon seeing the movie, he doesn't show anything in the last third act at all. In the trailers, there's nothing in which I loved, by the way. Taking a page out of Nolan's book, because Nolan doesn't show anything in the third act. Which I loved that. And also, I like the idea that, like, really a disease doesn't really have a stopping point, And so I felt that, like, every time that I would see Christopher Abbott, I'd be like, okay, this is the look. I'm like, I like it. Like, I like the look. And then I'd see him again. I'm like, okay, I'm liking this even more. Yeah. I just liked it more and more as it progressed. And then I hit a point where I was like, it's a disease doesn't have a point where, I'm sure there's a point where you can't really see the difference because he's just going to be a big furball or whatever. But he is hairy. You look at him, like, real close, he's constantly hairy everywhere. Yeah. It's mostly just that, like, the hair that he already had is accentuated.
Yeah.
And the rest of the hair is a lot smaller.
Yeah. Another thing I like, too, is we saw a couple of days ago, it came out that Lee Whannell is kind of going for the Fly with the transformation. Yeah. You feel that.
Oh, my God, yeah.
The battle that Blake goes through in this movie is very uncomfortable, very unsettling. It's almost, an hour of the movie is him progressively getting worse from the moment he gets the wound on his arm to our final, payoff. For and sure. It's unsettling. It's sad. Like
I was going to say, last thing I would say there, I was going to say, it's sad.
Yeah,
it's because
that's the Fly. The Fly is disgusting and sad.
Oh, that movie's so sad. Mm-hmm. There were definitely parts in the movie where, especially towards the end, whenever we get into kind of the final act, where he's chasing down the mother and the daughter or whatever, I could see that I'm like, there's a chance here that he's not really trying to attack them yet. Because he had multiple opportunities where he's just sitting there and he could have done something. I'm like, he might be trying to say something, or maybe he's just trying to go with them or whatever. And I'm like, but he can't communicate it.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, what, his fate ends up being, I'm like, I think that might have been it. I'm sure there were parts of him that wanted to attack or whatever. But I think for the most part, I was like, I think he actually was going to be, I don't think he was going to attack you straight up.
Yeah. I think he just wanted it all to be over. Mm-hmm. It is really a sad story when you really think about it, because throughout this whole transformation, you see what it's doing to him, what it's doing to his family. I really like the going back and forth between the perspective that Lee Whannell did.
I like that. I like that he did that. There's obviously effects whenever you get to, his perspective of things. But they did a lot of practical, like one of the things I was going to put in the good was lighting.
Yeah.
Because they would transition from like that, it would be like warm and kind of dark, whatever, and it would get bright and whatever. And that's already hard enough to do as it is to transition and make it look seamless. But to go back to that again multiple times, like that's pretty fucking good.
And I like it too because it's insinuating, obviously. When you get his perspective, you get the enhanced hearing, you get the night vision, stuff like that.
The enhanced hearing, dude. The spider scene was awesome.
Yes, it was. I would say the sound was also in the good.
I have things to say about the sound.
Okay, I like the sound.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a lot with sound.
Here's what I was going to say is they do a lot with sound, as in it's hard to explain, but the bigger things they do, like the things that they do man-wolfish, the big sounds or whatever, those parts were great. Yeah. I have more to say later on. Okay. But like the spider, like the banging on the walls. And also I like that the man-wolf, he does have the howl, but it's kind of hidden under like a like Jeepers Creepers, like Godzilla-esque like growl. Yeah. It's like a seamless transition, but it's very different. Yeah. It's very different.
Yeah. I liked a lot of this movie. Mm-hmm. Another thing I like about this movie, it is, you know, my dad was griping about how there's not enough substance, and I kind of liked that it went back to the basics, you know?
Me too. I didn't want a lot of story.
I felt like 2010 tried to do too much, and it was nice to kind of like go back to that 1941 where like we have some fun chase scenes, we have some crazy body horror, the transformation that we see throughout this whole movie is very unsettling. It's the horror of this movie, but the story that we're following is just... It's bare bones. It's easy to follow. Yeah. But you're focused more on the horror that's going on.
I mean, it's thriller and tension. Yeah. Like, I mean, you're supposed to be wrapped because of those things alone right there. I don't need extra things to be happening and whatever. And it's like, oh, we have to do it before this bomb goes off. Like, I don't care. Yeah. I don't need to see that. And also, if done well, more is less, but less is more. Yeah. And I think that was done a lot better here. Because we spent a lot more time with the characters. We fleshed out the characters. We fleshed out the relationships and things like that. Because I think the family dynamic is strong, but it's complex. Yeah. It's also kind of broken. They're basically trying to save their marriage out there. Yeah. And, you know, the daughter's, she's a bystander of whatever war's going on between the parents. And I also like that it wasn't a, I hate you and you hate me or anything like that. It's just, that's just the way some relationships go.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. You know, I talked about in The Invisible Man, I loved the complexities. But in this Wolfman movie, I think because of what we've gotten in the werewolf genre, that... Yeah, I was a fan of kind of just going back to the basics of just Wolfman. Like,
yeah, me too. I got what I wanted out of this for sure.
Yeah, with taking inspiration too from some classic horror movies. I loved the stuff that he compared to The Fly because you can see it.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting way to take it. Like I said, any Wolfman werewolf kind of transition or whatever, like I like that stuff. I think that stuff looks really cool. But taking it down to the basics and also turning into like, instead of less so like, how can we shoot this in a cool way? Which, by the way, things did look very cool in this. Cinematography, whatever. We did get a Wolfman on Wolfman fight that I thought was cool, but it was gruesome. Yeah. But it's the same thing with that as the transformation. Yeah. The fight and the transformation were less so about looking cool and making it look like it's dangerous. Yeah. And it hurts and it's miserable. Yeah. Whenever you watch those two fight, you're not like, oh, dope, Wolfman. I mean, I kind of was. I was like, oh, dope, two Wolfmen fighting. Yeah. But more than anything, I was just like, this like sucks for this family. Yeah. It sucks for him, Christopher Abbott. It's just a bad situation all around. Yeah. Even if he wins the fight.
One of the scenes when he's outside and you see the nails start piercing through, that was
pretty rough to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, the werewolf on werewolf fight was great. The twist and finding out that you could kind of see it coming, but
that it was his dad. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
but I still liked it.
Whenever I think the reveal was a good way of showing that. And then also I kind of thought back and I was like, I saw that coming, but it makes more sense than I gave it credit for at first, because like he stopped them while they were going up to the house. I'm sure there's some part of his weird wolf brain where he's like, he wants to spend time around his territory. It's his territory. Yeah. He's probably just protecting it, really. Yeah. And you know, and maybe that's why he went after Christopher Abbott so hard. He's like, he recognizes that to some extent that's his son. Yeah. You know?
And I mean, even if he doesn't, maybe to some extent he recognizes they just broke into my house.
Or that, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, the more we talk about it, the more I like this movie.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, plenty to say. Cinematography.
Oh, cinematography was beautiful. I loved... We should have looked up where this was filmed, because...
I know.
That the trees and the mountain...
Montana.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually... I mean, they got a sign of the Welcome to Oregon... Shot of the Welcome to Oregon sign. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of it filmed in... It's definitely Pacific Northwest, if not some Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's probably some Canada in there, yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it was filmed in Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. It was beautiful locales.
Because, I mean, it was basically in the one... They followed the one house. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was all
Which
shot
I like
in the same
that
location.
too.
Yeah.
Like, minimal locations and shit. More and more as I get older, like, obviously we all love, like, you know, every movie has all these locales. Or sometimes it's nice to just, like, man, what can we really do with this one location, this one house and whatever? And another thing on cinematography, it's a Lee Whannell thing. At least so far. Yeah. I haven't seen Upgrade. I've seen Insidious 3. This, Invisible Man, especially Invisible Man, he uses negative space in such a, like, amazing way. Mm-hmm. Like, again, that's one of my favorite things that directors play with sometimes, because there's so many shots that are beautiful. There's a lot of negative space, and it's like, there's really nothing going on here.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you get shots like this in here, which, again, like I said, I'm never have a problem with it. But there's points, like, at one point where it's really, really dark, and you just see the dot or whatever, and man, if you are not looking, you would not see him sitting right behind her. Yeah, and when I saw it, I did have a moment like a child where I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Which I don't have those often when I'm like, oh, fuck.
I was going to say that probably, if you're talking, like, top 5 favorite shots, that's up there. I like the shot when they hear him coming into the house and he comes down the stairs and you can see it.
I loved that. See, when I'm talking negative space, that's a shot. Absolutely.
Another shot I loved is when he's a kid and he's scoping looking for the deer and you just see the beast in the scope.
That was great. I mean, and I like a lot of this. It doesn't treat you like an idiot. No. It's like if you see it, you see it. If you don't, watch it again.
And then another shot I liked was when it's really zoomed in on the mushrooms.
Yeah, for sure.
There at the beginning. I really liked the opening too.
I like the opening. The opening, I remember there was a point where I was like, man, this opening's been going on for like a while, and I was like, I'm not mad at it. It's good. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's tense. Again, it fleshes out the characters. You know exactly. Also, the kid that they casted for young Christopher Abbott
looked just like him.
That was crazy, right? That was weird.
Insane.
Weird as hell.
I could tell who that was the moment it started. I was like, this is a flashback.
I know. The dude, I figured that it was, we were seeing, because I couldn't remember if it was a little girl or a little boy or if they had both, whatever. So at the beginning where it's the little boys in there eating, you can't really see him. And then you see the dad walk in. I'm like, that doesn't sound like Christopher Abbott, but I guess that's him. And then whenever they go walking down, there's a shot of the kid, and I'm like, "Oh no, it's the kid."
Yeah, we're getting a timestamp sometime later for sure.
And I do like, this is kind of a pass down from really Wolfman 2011 or 2010. Yeah, 2010. That it's like a Sins of the Father pass down situation.
Yeah,
I like that messaging a lot. I really do, because you see the anger that he has with his daughter and whatever, and how he's like, "That's not me. I'm not trying to make it me," whatever. So that was whenever I was like, I think the Wolfman, with the dad being missing or whatever. I thought at first that he just was sick and died, and that's why the state, you know, like in a coma or something.
Yeah.
But then after that moment, I was like, I think there's a chance that other Wolf's going to be his dad.
Yeah.
You know, just because it also, that would have been a cool reveal if it also didn't just happen in a movie we watched for the first time like 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Because that actually shocked the shit out of me when that happened that time.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I liked the reveal, too, like with saying that it has the level tattoo, or the family name. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I had a good time with this movie. I'm bummed that a lot of people aren't.
It's not doing well. Yeah. I am bummed because it is very, very good. And also, like, another thing we don't talk about, like, camera operation, camera movement, like the parts where the disease is kicking in, whatever. Like there's a part where he's like tumbling and the camera will kind of follow him, and then he starts to kind of catch his bearings again, and he goes right back into it. And I think that was right after the spider moment, where he's upstairs. Yeah, like I thought that was great. Whenever he is transforming finally out in the wilderness, you know, same kind of thing where the camera's following him. I loved the camera movement whenever they wrecked the U-Haul or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and you see him and it pans out. And I already knew that they were going to be sideways, but it really like adds to like the way. I feel like I felt the gravity of like him really just being like on his side. And
then seeing the Wolfman in the mirror was cool. And
that was great. Him climbing on the side of the building or whatever. And all that stuff was phenomenal. Another thing I liked, instead of doing like, again, Lee Wallnell, I knew he was going to play with things a while. We don't really know if the full moon thing is or isn't a thing for this.
Yeah, because it's one night.
It's one night. Presumably, it probably isn't a thing.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's open-ended enough to where you could say it could, because they're talking about, like, a lot of us don't stay here after dark and whatever. They probably can't find a pattern. I mean, the pattern might be the nighttime thing.
But then if you think about it, like at the opening scene, though, he scopes them out and it's daytime. So
that's a good point.
I truly feel it's just a disease.
Yeah, it probably is just.
And that's what I like about this.
And I assumed it was not going to be moon related.
And I feel like that's one of the biggest misconceptions with these movies is there is a difference, in my opinion at least, between a werewolf and a wolfman.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the big one's the snout, and werewolves are usually of much larger stature.
Yeah,
but like, I don't know. There is a level of like sentient that is within a man wolf.
Yeah, they're cognitive.
Yeah,
somewhere down there, they are still in there.
Yeah,
and I think the disease thing is a. Because
cool
in a way, again, whenever he gets like the advanced hearing and stuff like that, it still is kind of a superpower. So you don't totally lose that, like, it's a Universal monster movie thing. Kind of keeps it alive a little more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, like you said, it's really kind of just is a disease.
Yeah. I thought this movie had great tension. That's probably my last major good. I throughout the entire hour and 43, I really couldn't get comfortable. Mm-hmm. Especially once the truck crashed.
Absolutely.
But
yeah, for sure.
Anything else for you, major in the good?
I mean, I guess I don't know what to specifically shout out for it, but again, the jump scares were pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think, again, the way they hid the Wolfman was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I know we talked about the locales, but specifically that house, the layout of that house, I think is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, there's just so much to like.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. So we're going to hop over to the meh. Mm-hmm. I'll have you kick this one off, and I'll try to piggyback on you, because I'm not saying this movie's perfect. I don't think it is, but I'm struggling to find some things I didn't like.
Sure. I mean, I'll kick us off. Julia Garner, I didn't totally love at first.
Okay.
And I don't think it's acting. I think it is just that mom character. But also at the same time, in hindsight, I mean, there is a whole subplot where she talks about how she feels like she can't relate to the daughter as much. And
yeah.
There's something about it that's wooden, but in hindsight, it's probably more intentional than I gave it credit for.
Yeah.
And then again, like once things like really kick off with the disease and everything, I went right back to thinking she was great.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm putting it in the meh, just because it is something that I
when
still...
When you said, I mean, I guess... It's probably easy to guess when there's only 3 or 4 characters, but
and I'm not about to go dunk on a kid. So.
Yeah, when you said something about like I have something to say about somebody later, I figured it was her, because I liked Abbott throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, I think he was obviously the best.
I could definitely get behind when they're in the big city, which I don't know what city they're in. I mean, when you see big city, you just assume New York, I guess.
Yeah, but, yeah, they never say.
Especially when you get, her walking in the traffic.
I kind of got a Seattle feel for that.
Maybe. I mean, they did drive to Oregon, so I'm guessing it's probably a Seattle closer. Or San Fran or big city on the west.
Or something like that, So, I kind of felt off about that. Now, I'm going to put sound in there as a whole.
Okay.
Only because, again, there were those great moments. But also, there were times where for a second I was like, am I getting a Wolfman disease where I can't hear things properly? Because there were certain moments where, one, ADR was lining up in kind of a weird way, which is kind of an editing thing. So I'm also going to kind of put... Editing, again, was 90% great. There was just a couple moments I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Some weird transitions. So it was some of those things. there were certain parts where it sounded like they were underwater. Specifically Christopher Abbott. I remember whenever they first get in the house for the first time and he goes digging in the basement looking for the CB radio and all that stuff, he really sounded like cup phony.
Okay.
So that was kind of bugging me because I was like, I genuinely was like, am I like genuinely starting to get sick or something? And I can't hear it. It was freaking me out. But also I'm a hypochondriac, so ignore that. So I don't know. There were certain moments that I wasn't crazy about with that.
That's fair. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked what they did with sound more than the sound itself. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the spider scene is obviously the big one that sticks out, and then some of the nature sounds and
not really the dynamics of it, but like the innovation of the certain sounds of that. Sure, yeah,
the
absolutely.
Execution. Yeah,
I'll get behind it.
Man.
Another thing that I probably should have mentioned in the good that I forgot to say. Great score.
Yeah.
Loved it. There were a couple moments. You caught me trying to do my Shazam. And you sent me a text and I was like, son of a bitch, caught me.
Yeah.
And then I come to find out at the end of the movie, composed by Benjamin Wallfish. And I was like, well, there it is. I guess I should have guessed that. He did The Invisible Man, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And a bunch of other movies, which I won't go on a list about, but I really love Benjamin Wallfish. I think he's terrific.
Yeah. God, I'm still struggling to think of anything I didn't like.
Sure.
Like, even some of my goods I wouldn't say like were even great, but there was just so much I liked about this movie.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like saying like on a whole, pretty much the entire movie was good.
Yeah.
Just not perfect.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's not even like I got weird dynamics from the guy that was hitchhiking, or not hitchhiking, but like showing them the way. But I feel like he was supposed to be that way.
Oh, I
like,
liked him because I was like, man, he is unsettling.
Yeah, and it made it eerie. It kind of started the tension before the accident.
There was definitely part of me that was like, that kind of was like,
I guess if I have
kind of stupid.
If I have to nitpick in one direction, there's no way that an accident like that wouldn't have caused a little more damage to everybody involved.
Yeah, and the vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, that reminded me a lot of, like, the Jurassic Park when the Jeep gets sent over.
Oh, yeah.
And
then they're just like, oh, shit, did you feel that? And it's like, you should be dead.
Even them, like, the kid gets I mean, I guess he gets the limp from being electrocuted, but they're all banged up and bloodied. And this one, like, the mom and daughter come out unscratched.
Yeah, they are unscathed. That's a good point. Yeah. So,
like, I guess maybe that
is a little goofy. Yeah.
But, like, still.
I mean, yeah, it's like, who cares? Yeah, for sure. Some people genuinely flip their car and they're in an accident that has 99.9% survival rate and they walk out and they're like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes that shit just does happen.
That's true. But I don't have anything in the bad. If I can't find anything for the meh, really, I'm definitely not going to find anything in the bad.
No. As far as the bad sticks out, there's nothing that sticks out, like, at all.
So I guess we can hop over to our final thoughts and ratings then.
Sure.
Something I want to say in the final thoughts that I should have said in the good. I like the callback to the bear trap from 1941. How they catch him in a bear trap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I did. I didn't even think about that.
That was cool.
That was very cool.
And then the way he escapes is, again, just disgusting, but really cool.
And they also kind of allude and foreshadow that earlier whenever he sees his arm and goes crazy on it.
Yeah.
In which I couldn't help but sit there and think about that line from Dune where it's like an animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own limb to escape or whatever. And I was like, well, he did it. Yeah. And I like that it did it put him in like wolf position because he was like crawling for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene was insane when he was like biting on his arm because he just stopped and then like walked out the room. Like nothing happened.
Yeah. He was like, he looked at his wife and was like, that was weird, right?
Yeah.
He just kept walking.
Yeah. But
I also do like, I'm going to bring this up because I thought it was funny. I mean, it's still good, but like if you step out of the movie for a second, it's kind of funny to look at. Whenever they're all like, let's go get in the car, we all got to leave. And he's just kind of sitting in the back like a toddler. Yeah. He's just like, and the daughter's like sitting up front. Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah. I think it's very funny.
My dad taps me on that scene and goes, those windows are dirty. And I'm like, shut up.
Because the car's been sitting there for how long?
It's like the most tense part of the movie. He's like, those are some dirty windows. And I'm like, watch the movie, Dad.
See, you know why that scene got me? Because in the trailer, that scene is in the trailer, but it wipes a couple times before the Wolfman appears. Yeah. In this one, the first wipe, he's there.
And in this one, didn't the hair on the wolf look fuller than in the trailer?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The one that ended up being the father, I swear, watching the movie, I was like, this looks way better than what I, like...
remember seeing in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they probably did hide that on purpose. Yeah. It seemed more hairy, he looked, honestly, when I looked at him, I was like, that's actually like a perfect... His design, I actually think, was perfect. Again, Christopher Abbott's I don't think is perfect, but that's because I think... like his dad had a beard and stuff like that. And I think those features get accentuated.
And I think his dad has obviously, because they mentioned he was lost for a while, has probably reached like full grown.
Yeah, he's transformed as much as you can.
Yeah.
I think Christopher Abbott definitely got taken out of it before he lost his mind.
Yeah.
Which is the point of the movie. Yeah. And I think that's a great take, genuinely.
So what do you want to wrap up with, and what do you give it out of 10?
I walked out of it feeling pretty good. I had expectations that I honestly was pissed that I had because I wanted to go in like kind of confused like I was, and then I started seeing people being like, this one's actually good. And I still was like, I still feel like I don't love it as much as I don't know. I felt kind of conflicted. I still liked it a lot, but I was kind of conflicted. The more I talk about it, I think this is just one I have to chew on. Yeah. Because the more I'm chewing on it, man, the more that's a juicy steak, Yeah. So anyway, I think I'm gonna give it a 9.
Damn it! I was literally gonna ask you, is it crazy for me to give this movie a 9?
No.
Because I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And like I'm seeing all the scores it's getting, and all of like I read some Letterboxd reviews, and I'm like, did we watch the same movie?
I probably do feel closer to an 8.5.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be the guy that's like 8 point whatever. I can't, just when I think about what I put in the meh and then thinking about the bad,
I struggle to find anything in the meh. And I definitely don't think it was perfect. Mm-hmm. Or that it was like, I don't think it was a 10 out of 10. But I did have a lot of fun with this. This is one that I'm going to own. Mm-hmm. And I think it even has a lot of replay value. I definitely see
myself watching it too.
I definitely see myself watching this more than probably. This is gonna be crazy to say because I think 1941. I gave it a 9 as well. I think it's a better 9. Mm-hmm. I think it's a better movie, but I think this one might have more replay value.
You might be right. I'm honestly not. I'm honestly not sure. I genuinely do feel something for that 41.
Well, I do
version.
Too.
So I think I know you definitely do. I think I would watch that one a little more, but that's because this one's like so sad and gross.
We can definitely
in the best
agree
way.
That
it's sad and gross.
2010 is the little brother of those movies.
Oh man, that's the ugly duckling.
Yeah,
that.
So.
We still love you. Ugly
I know
duckling.
we do enjoy you, but
we enjoy. Yeah,
I wouldn't 40 minutes, man.
Oh fucking hell.
But no, I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 as well, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna set.
Yeah, I was like
that could change by the end of the year. Maybe I'll have some sort of realization, but I don't see myself dropping below. I always do my 8.5, to be honest.
I always do my end of year reflection on all the movies I've watched over the last 52 weeks. But no, like what's funny about me giving it a 9 too is I talked about how this whole week we might be on the same radar, and I think the furthest separation we got was a 9 and a 10 for Invisible Man. So
yeah, I guess so.
Because we were half off in 2010, we both gave 41 a 9. We gave this a 9. So
damn it.
We feel the same type of way about these Wolfman movies
for sure.
Lee Whannell's Invisible Man too.
Incredible.
So at least we know where we're at.
Yeah,
we know we can watch them together.
Yeah, we don't have a situation where we're like, let's keep these opinions to ourselves, because there are certain movies that I don't like that you like, and vice versa. I think we're both like. Every now and then we poke the bear for shits and giggles, but we're both like, better just not bring it up.
For the next couple of months, we're going to hang out and be like, dude, the Wolfman. Like, they're all 3 different.
They are very
41,
different.
Well, no, like spelling-wise. 41 is the Wolfman. 2010 is the Wolfman.
The Wolfman.
And this one's Wolfman.
Wolfman.
Yeah.
So, are there any other combinations?
I don't know. I mean, there's American Werewolf in London, but it's a werewolf movie, not
Yeah,
a
that's true.
Wolfman movie.
I guess the next one, if you want to do something different, you're just gonna have to do like WULF.
Yeah,
you know,
Wolfman.
Wolfman or
The sequel to
WOOF.
2010, Wolfman.
Wolfman.
WOOF man.
You might have to.
But no man, I had a great time.
I had a very good time. It was also nice to just be there with you, Rosie, and your dad. By the way, what a great watch experience
For sure.
And some annoying dickhead behind me who kept talking through the movie.
Yeah, I
like
heard
2
him.
rows
Like,
behind.
yeah.
At one point, I was like, "Bitch, are you on the phone?" I thought he was on the phone at one
That
point.
happened to me one time. What movie was it? Somebody answered a phone call in the middle of a movie. And I'm like, I'm sitting here next to Rose, and I'm like, there's no way that this is happening right now.
For the record, if that was like a The Batman or like a The Dune for me or like a The Interstellar for me,
Yeah.
I probably would have actually stood up and said, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah. It wasn't a major movie that happened to anybody.
I figured if nobody said anything, it had to have been like a Lisa.
Well, and it was just like, it was just me and Rosie, so I'm starting to think it was like probably one of those pretty bad horror movies we watched last year, like Imaginary or something like
Sting or something.
Yeah. So it wasn't anything major, but it was still like, are you kidding me? Like,
I kind of certain that guy was on the phone. I was like, and I tried not to distract Rosie, but I was like,
this is a bad movie to do that too, because like sound is like utilized in certain ways, and there is quiet moments. Like you're gonna
just
get caught,
any
man.
movie that is supposed to be like high octane tension. Shut up.
Yeah.
Nothing will be as bad as that Shazam 2 experience, though. That was insane.
But great movie.
Yeah.
Wolfman is.
Yeah. Great movie.
Great week of movies.
Great week.
Even with 2010, I had a fun time watching all of these monster movies.
Absolutely. I'm having a banger run on Fast Times with Willy B at the start of 2025, man.
Yeah. That'll do it for Wolfman. Kory, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos. Hit the subscribe button. Follow the social links down below. Go check out the other Wolfman reviews that we did throughout this week, and Invisible Man if you want to follow along with the Lee Wanell storyline. But again, we appreciate anything you do, and we'll talk to you all soon. Peace.